open the full guard. Since there's a tournament this weekend, we're going down to compete in St. Augustine. We're going against some traditional jiu-jitsu players. A lot of times they just throw people in the closed guard, wrap it up, and just hold on to you, and they just sit there. Yeah, and so if that's the case, we got to be able to break that guard open to start our passing sequences and start moving. So can I use your Jesus? So when he has full guard, he's here, he's wrapping his legs around, and he's holding me here. So the trouble with this position is I don't have a lot of attacks I can do against him, but he has a lot of attacks he can do against me, especially if he's able to break my posture. Now he can start doing all kinds of things to me. So, in jiu-jitsu, there's not really anything that you should never do or always do, but there's things that in most cases you should do and shouldn't do. In most cases, I want to keep my posture. There are ways I can break his guard open and pass from a low position, but for today, we're just going to work on keeping our posture to defeat this. And the other big thing is I don't want to put my hands on the mat, for the purpose of today. There's times where I can, and I can use this to bait him into stuff to open his guard so I can start my passing. But for the purpose of right now, I don't want to do this because now he can start attaching and attacking my arms, right? So when I'm here, I want my hands on him. I can put him on his arm. I can pin both arms. I can put him in his armpits. I can put him on, his rib cage. I can connect to his hips, but I want my hands on him, right? Once I get my hands on him, the job of my hands is to control his upper body so it doesn't move, right? So if his upper body doesn't move, then I'm free to use my lower body against his feet to start trying to pop this open. So wherever I decide to put my hands, I'm using that as a way to pin him to the mat, right? So once I get him pinned, I want to make sure I have good pressure into this so he can't move. Now the next part is I want to get pressure against his ankles so it's harder for him to hang on to me. So the next thing I'm going to do is wedge his hip. The first one we're going to do is I just bring my knee in and I wedge his hip so it doesn't move. Now I slink back with my other leg. I go back with it and I push my hips back into the pressure of his ankles, right? I can already feel that it's getting harder for him to keep that grip, right? So I'm pinning here, wedging with my knee, and I'm opening this up. As I slink back and I start to feel that pressure, I just do a quick drop to break that open, right? Once it's open, now I can start to own the inside position so we can start our guard passing, right? We're just gonna worry about getting to here right now. The big battle is popping this open. You can't do any guard passing until you pop his legs open, right? So, again, this first one, it doesn't have to be arms. I can just pin his ribs, and do the same thing. So I'm here, my posture's good and high. I wanna keep my spine straight here. If I lean forward just a little bit, he can bring his knees to his chest and break me down and start attacking me here. So when I sit here, I get high, and then it's like I'm tucking my butt under, right? It doesn't seem like a big thing, but even if I don't put my hands on him, if I don't tuck my butt, pull your knees to your chest, and then if I do, now he can't pull me forward, right? So all I did was tuck my hips under, like you're tucking your tailbone underneath you. Now my hands are pinning him here, or they can be here, or they can be here. Whichever, you'll find like what feels best to you. You can play around with the different grips, right? I wedge the hip, open up, drop, come up and own the inside space. All right, that's all we're doing. Let's play with it. 3, 2, 1. All right, so instead of connecting here, I can go down to his hips. The only problem with this when it's live is now he can sit up and attack me. So I don't have control over his upper body anymore. So yeah, now he can start sitting up and doing things here. So I have to be aware of that if he starts trying to come up. So here I can keep him pinned and I can go. You know, here I can't. He can just sit up and start, doing things, right? You know, so you just have to be aware if I need to move lower, that if he starts sitting up, I've got to change gears. But if you notice, when he sits up, he has to unlock his legs. So if he goes to sit up and unlocks his legs, I can start my passing, right? So I'm just ready for that too, right? And this is a lot of jiu-jitsu. A lot of times I have to give up something to get something, but I know what that then limits him to. And if he goes for those things, if I have a counter to it, I'm okay, right? So the other thing is, once you get to this spot and you go to drop, like if you just try to sink back, a lot of times he can keep that control, right? I want to get there and I want to pop it, right? When you do quick movements, it's a lot harder to hold on to than if you just go slow, right? So if I can get that quick pop, it'll break that control of the ankles and it'll open the guard up for you. Make sense? Cool. All right, so this was one way to pop that open. Now, if you're having issues doing this, because every time you start to go, he breaks your posture down and you find yourself fighting to get your posture back, and then you start to go and he breaks your posture down and you're playing one of these matches, then I suggest standing to start to open this up, right? So when I go to stand, I can do this a couple of different ways. The first one is I can pick a side, get his arm, and I'm gonna pin his arm to him, right? I want both of my hands palm down. I want the wrist and I want right at his elbow so I can pin here. Now I'm gonna step up same side. So the reason I step up same side is because then he can't hook my leg with this arm because I already have it trapped, right? So I'm stepping up and I wanna be up by his shoulders. So that way when I step up with my next leg, I know he's gonna try to hook it, but he's gonna be way up on his shoulders now. So when I get here and I stand up, like he doesn't have a lot of leverage anymore. And to do anything, he has to unlock his legs. And then now I can start working for my passes, right? So again, we're here, I pin, step up same side, up nice and high, step up the other side, and right here, I got a posture, right? If he breaks open, awesome. If he doesn't, and he's still hanging on, then I'm gonna reach back. I wanna be postured here because if I reach back like this, he can triangle me, right? So that's why I gotta posture up and then reach back, and now I can pop it open and I can start my passing. Does that make sense? Need to see it again?
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe is a yes. All right. So I pin, I'm putting my weight into my arms as I stand up. That keeps him pinned to the mat. Right? Step up, posture. Reach back, pop it open, and now I can start making my passes. Right? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. All right, so this time he's got me here. Maybe I'm trying to pin the arms. I just can't get good grips on him. We're fighting this grip battle. It's just not working. So I just push it into his armpits and push his arms up. When I do this, you want to make sure your thumbs are pointed up, not your fingers. If he is able to overcome me and bring his elbows back into his side right here, he has a double wrist lock. All right? So I go thumbs up, right? So we're here. When I go to stand up, it's the same way. Just pick a side, stand up, stand up. Now I'm gonna put a knee in the middle, right on his butt. My other leg shifts out a little bit to keep my base. Now I'm just walking my hands towards his hips. And at some point it breaks open, right? And now we can look for our pass, right? So we're here, I'm opening this up. Step up just like before, step up, right? Now, because I can't posture up, I'm gonna put a knee in the middle and I'm gonna step out to the side, right? Now I'm walking my hands towards his hips and I can pop it down if I need to unlock it. Make sense? Cool.
One more time.
One more time.
Please.
He asked. All right, so we're here. Step up, knee in the middle, other knee out. I walk up, pop it open, and we take the inside space. All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. because I have long legs and he has short legs. If you're going against someone who's a lot longer, thinner, when you do this move, sometimes their legs never open and you just sit right into your combat stance. So do the right, like my legs never open because I'm so long, right? This is fine too. Like, even though he hasn't broken my ankles open, he can still start all of his guard passing stuff. Like, it's gonna pop me open as he goes, right? So if that ever happens to you, that's no big deal, right? Like, you still own the inside space and you can still pass, right? And don't be like, oh crap, now what do I do, right? So just so you're aware, like, you can probably pull that off on a lot of people too, where you can just sit, and if you're attacking legs, the legs are right there to attack, you know, so that's an option there as well. Cool.
So it's okay to be comfortable in that position?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not a whole lot they can do to you because you're in a good combat stance. Like, to do anything, they have to unlock their feet and then you're already passing, right? So, cool. All right, last one. So let's go at this angle. All right, so everybody on this side of me so you can see what my hands are doing. All right. So like I said, this last one is all about being able to have really good posture. If I can't maintain my posture, I'm gonna get triangled. Because in this case, I'm gonna reach back with one hand, right? And so if I have poor posture and I reach back with one hand, I feed him a triangle choke, right? So I really have to make sure my posture is great for this one. So in this case, like most of the time when we're trying to break stuff open, I'm up on the top of my toes. For this one, I'm actually gonna go down because I wanna really sit back and really tuck my hips under so that it's hard for him to pull me forward with his knees. You know, I wanna make it pretty much impossible, right? And right now, I don't know which foot he has on top, right? I can't see. Like, you know, and if I start trying to do this during the match, like, he's just gonna attack me, right? So once I get here, I'm controlling him here. I just put one hand in the middle, and all I'm gonna do is slide down his shin, right? And I'm looking to see if I can catch his big toe, right? It's not there, it's here. Does that make sense? Right? So I'm just reaching back, sliding down his shin. There's a toe, and I pop it open. Like, it's really that simple. It's really stupid, and you think it won't work. I've watched Brian do this to numerous people. It's crazy. So again, we get here. I slide down the shin. That's a heel. That's a toe. Make sense? Right? Big thing though, really making sure you got this posture, because if I don't have good posture, my hips are behind my shoulders. The moment I go to start reaching back, he's gonna pull me forward. I'm gonna lose my posture, and now he's attacking me, right? So, you know, once you get it a couple of times, bottom person, keep trying to pull your knees to your chest and break their posture, you know, to make sure that they're keeping good posture when they do it. Cool? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. So if you're having issues when you go to push this back, sometimes depending on your length and their length, like when I reach back, I don't have enough leverage. Like as I push, his feet just go to the mat. Right? The leverage isn't there to pop it open. So in that case, I'm gonna wedge. And then now right? So just like we were doing before with wedging the hip, I need that space to put that tension into his ankles to be able to pop that, right? You know, so again, like I'm just wedging back and I look for that and it's there. If you start off on the wrong side, right? I'm like, oh, nope, I just switch and find it and pop it, right? Does that make sense? Let's try that. 3, 2, 1. When I reach back for that toe, as I'm doing this, he might try to shoot that triangle choke. And if he shoots that up, then I'm coming across and passing immediately, right? So I know that's the one thing he can try to do to counter, you know, and again, if my posture is good, it's not gonna work. Like he's not gonna be able to get a good triangle on me, and I'm gonna use that immediately just to pass his guard, right? So just so you know, like, cause they'll still try to throw it up, you know, cause they really don't know what else to do, you know, so you just, you know, use it to pass. Make sense? Cool.
What if he traps your arm? Right? Like usually looks over the triangle.
Well, so he's gonna triangle over this shoulder because I'm reaching back. He can't, like, holding on to this arm doesn't do him any good, right? Because when he shoots this up for that triangle as I reach back, right?
Okay, I get it.
Right? So, yeah, I just reach back across and hip switch, you know, and we're passing. Yeah. So, cool. Any other questions on that or anything we did tonight? Right, so this is probably the most annoying thing in all of jiu-jitsu to deal with is a closed guard where they just want to keep the closed guard and they don't want to do anything. So if you can break this open, like you're ahead of the game, you know, because a lot of people will just try to stall from this position. Either they're tired and they just want to catch a breather, or in points tournaments, if they're up on points and they're just trying to stall to win, you know, like you'll encounter people who just want to close their guard and hold you. Yeah, and so you gotta be able to pop it open and still do your thing. So hopefully this will help moving forward. We'll do some, you know, position battling coming up from, you know, from full guard. Still, we do all the time. You know, and hopefully this will help when you're doing that as well. If you're competing this weekend, you know, definitely you probably see some full guard action from these people from other schools because the traditional schools, like that's the first thing they learn is just full guard. You know, so that's like what they're most comfortable with. So when in doubt, they pull full guard and they hold you there. You know, so cool. So annoying. All right, let's get a picture.